how do you get others within the group to actually open up and have a voice to contribute to the conversation?
For sure. It can be tough, you know, especially in tough times like these. And if people are shy, then they tend to stay away from interacting. So totally get where you're coming from, Janice. What I would say is it might be useful before you ask that question where people have to talk in front of everyone. Maybe it would be better if you could split them up into a group of pairs at first and have a discussion with two people, you know, a little back and forth discussing what is going good right now. So then when you bring the whole group back in, you can kind of go to the pairs and get an answer from each of them. They might feel a little bit more comfortable when they first discussed something and had it validated by another person before they speak about it in the big group. So that's certainly an option I would suggest. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it definitely does.
Good, excellent.
Kyle, do you find that the bigger the audience, then the less interaction there is? People, if you have a very large audience, people tend to be fearful of asking questions or saying anything. When you get a smaller group, you get more questions. What's your experience on that?
So I've done quite a few big audiences. Probably the biggest is about 120 people. What I find actually is people interact more, but I think that's just because there's so many people. Is if you think about it, right? If you've got a lot more people, there's far more opportunity for each person to want to interact, right? They literally might all have a thought in their head that they want to say. So you're more likely to find those who are a bit more outspoken in larger groups than smaller groups. The difficulty is managing it. The difficulty is managing it because if you get 100 responses coming at you all at once, it's just going to be absolute chaos. So you've got to manage that correctly for using functions like the chat if it is a big group like that. But I find they're more likely to interact if there's more people than less, is what I would say, Ian.
Yeah.
If you're hosting an event where you don't necessarily want people to interact, because you kind of want them to be all quiet and you're just talking at them, presenting something or showing them something, would an event that's pre-recorded, would you recommend that more than going out completely live, just in case you, and with the pre-recorded event, you can kind of make sure that you're okay? Or do you think it kind of loses its appeal?
What's the topic that you're covering, Ailsa? Have I said your name right there, by the way? Is it Ailsa? Is that how you pronounce it?
Isla.
Isla, sorry.
But don't worry, everyone always gets it wrong.
Isla, tell me a little bit more about the kind of topic, if you don't mind.
So it would be like a product demo, essentially. So it's something that you want people to feel like they're kind of part of a community. You're sending out a special link, so you can only be part of it if you've signed up to the mailing list. So it needs to be a little bit professional, but at the same time, we want it to feel quite natural. So I'm just thinking about whether to pre-record it or have it completely live.
Okay, and how long is the demonstration, Isla?
Not decided yet.
Okay, well, that's going to be a big factor in it, right? If it's an hour-long demonstration where people just listening to you, then I would say maybe better to pre-record it and then post it out in your own time. But if it's something short and snappy within, I don't know, 30 minutes or so, and you want to create that buzz and that excitement of the first reveal, then I think a live event would be great. So it really depends on the time that you're gonna make it, is what I would say. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
Great.